Hey, my Pilates people, welcome to my channel, Connect and Move. My name is Jessica. I am so excited to be back recording again and also moving, but I'm also looking forward to today's session. It is a cardio jump class, a little bit more on the advanced side, mainly because of pacing, right? A lot more coordination, arms and legs moving at the same time, and we will probably do a couple inversions here and there. Right? So you'll of course need your jump board. I have wrist weights on just because I don't have any light dumbbells. So what I recommend people to do when grabbing weights is just grab 2 sets. So if you have options, grab options. Say like a really light set. I have a 5-pound set down here. So I think these might be 1.5, 2 pounds. So I'll keep these on for the whole class and then pick up these weights. And I can always drop them, right? Just remember that. You can always do no weights for the class, right? So couple sets of weights, jump board, of course, a pad for kneeling if you need. We will be doing some kneeling. And then we're going to be starting with a medium and a light spring. So I have a red and a blue for my balanced body. You can always adjust your springs, of course. We're going to start off kind of getting right into some jumping. And then we're going to kind of flip-flop around for the first little bit of class. And then we'll move on to something else, some more jumping. We're going to kind of go back and forth. So it's definitely going to be a full body session today. So with that being said, let's get moving. All right, so make sure that you're centered on the carriage. Before we do anything, I prefer my head rest up when I'm jumping. I just think it feels nicer on my head and a little bit nicer on my back. So I'm gonna find a turnout position so my toes are kind of up at the corners of the foot bar here, or of the jump board. And I'm gonna try to connect my heels with the carriage in, right? Very challenging for me. So as I press the carriage out, my heels will obviously drop down. And then I'm going to resist the carriage in, trying to keep my heels down. Again, press it out. I'm going to flex at my ankles to pull the carriage home. So arms are just weighted down by your side to start, because I want to focus here on the ankles and the feet. Start to find that tripod connection down through your feet. Super important to just warm up the ankles and the feet before we get jumping. So let's do 3. Resist home. You're kind of pulling in on the jump board. And last one. Good. Go ahead and press the carriage all the way out. Bring the arms up to the sky, kind of like a hug a tree position here. So as you pull the carriage in, open the arms out to the side and then hug the arms back in. Open and close. And as we're moving out and in, I want you to settle into like a long imprint. So we're not tucking the tail to sink the back into the mat. We're using our stomach muscles to sink the belly and to sink the low back into the mat. Let's do 3 and 2. And last one. Beautiful. Go ahead and bring the carriage all the way home. All right. So here, I forgot to mention, if you want to go ahead and grab your light weights, you're more than welcome. Because again, I've got my wrist weights on. So all these arm motions that we'll be doing, right, you can be holding those light weights in your hands. So I'm going to start feet in parallel, hip socket distance apart. I'm going to bring my left leg up into tabletop here. All right. I'm just going to reach my arms up to the sky, maybe punch out through my fists here. And we're going to start jumping right away on the right leg. All right. So I'm going to press out and land. My left leg is just along for the ride. And I'm just trying to connect to my seat, my stomach here. And then when you feel ready, right, we're going to add a bend to the elbows as the carriage comes in. We punch out as the carriage goes out. And even if you're not holding onto weights, you can still do this motion. Land toe ball heel. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead and switch. Right leg still in space. Exhale on that press out. If you want to go back to that hug, you're more than welcome. Just to switch things up. Try to get that heel down before you press out. and strong point out through that left toe each and every time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now I want you to alternate. So land with one foot, press out, land with the other foot, press out. I'm just continuing with my hug here. Let's do 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Go ahead and bring the carriage all the way in. Reach back for your short loops. You can drop the weights down. All right, hands into your short loops. Wrap the fists around. Hands are just over your shoulders. Again, find that long imprint of the spine. Bring your legs up into tabletop. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Lower the arms all the way down. Hold here, strong punch out through your fist, and then float the arms back up. So how broad can you make your collarbone? And how long can you make the sides of your neck as these arms move in space here? Arms are razor straight. Let's do 2. Last one, hold the arms down. If it's available, pick your head up, look down at your stomach, find an upper ab curl. Your tailbone is still heavy. You have not tucked the pelvis, all right? I want you to bend the elbows to 90. As you straighten the arms, straighten your right leg out, bend everything back in. Alternate to the left, straighten, straighten, and then back in. Stay looking down at your stomach. It's going to keep the back of the neck long. For 4 and 3 and 2, you got it, breathe through it. Last one, bend both knees in. Now straighten both arms and legs out, hold. 2, 3, bend everything back in. You can always lower your head down, straighten out, hold. 2, 3, bend everything back in. Stay looking down at your low belly here. Back in. Last one, straighten everything out, hold, hold, hold. Bend everything back in, lower everything down, hang up your straps. Awesome work. You can grab your weights again. Let's go back to your parallel hip socket distance apart. All right, I'm gonna punch my arms up to the ceiling. My palms are now facing in towards one another and my elbows are kind of spiraling in, okay? So let's just start with a straight arm and go ahead and press that carriage out. Go for that next jump. Find that exhale as you press out. And remembering you're landing in that toe ball heel, still keeping that imprint of your spine. All right, now when the knees bend, the elbows are gonna bend for a skull crusher. Bend, straighten out, bend, straighten out. Hands come towards your temples of the shoulder blocks. Toe ball, heel. Now we're gonna alternate with landing. You're gonna land wide, you're gonna land narrow. If you can keep up with the arms, go for it. It's like a pat in your head and rubbing your belly. Sink those ribs into the mat, y'all. Breathe with me. Exhale on the out, inhale on the in. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome. Bring it all the way in. Fabulous. All right, let's go back to your short loops. Catch your breath. Sway the knees from side to side. Again, wrap the fists around. Strong punch up to the ceiling to start. Sink the ribs in the back into the mat. Bring your knees into your chest here. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Lower the arms down if it's available. Pick your head up. Look down at your low belly. Think of putting the weight of your head in your stomach, if that makes any sense at all. Now straighten both legs up to the ceiling. Lower your left leg down as your right leg pulls back to your face. Can you make the arms longer and curl up higher? And switch legs. And switch. And switch. As that leg comes closer to you, could you get it straighter? And think of it spiraling in
in. So a little bit of internal rotation as that leg comes up. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring both legs together. Hold it here. Get the base of your ribs into the mat. Squeeze your inner thighs together. Lower the legs down, 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 and then lift them right back up. You can always keep your head down. No worries. Sometimes I think this is a little bit harder. Again, a couple more times. As the legs go down, think of the belly pulling back. One more. Hang in there with me, y'all. Punch out through the fists. The legs come up. Everything comes all the way down. Nice work. Hang up those straps. All right. We're going to go back to that single leg jumping. So find your parallel. Hip socket distance apart here. All right. Then bring your left leg up into tabletop. Right foot is planted down. I want you to take either your weights or your hands, whichever one you have, and you're going to press them up against your left thigh right now. So it's either palm or fists or weights into the thigh. All right. Now pull your left thigh into your hands and your hands into your thighs. So you're creating tension here. All right. You're going to keep that. Start jumping. And in this position, if you want, you can add that ab curl. Right. We can always do this. Elbows are nice and wide, just like your hug. Now to add on, as you press out, kick the left leg up, bend it down. Kick it up, bend it down. Lots of coordination. Sink those ribs down, y'all. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, switch sides. Quick reset. Get yourself sorted. Let's go. Toe ball heel. Keep pulling that right leg in, y'all. You make this as hard as you want. If you've got that ab curl going on where you're looking down at your stomach, could you push a little bit more into that thigh? Now kick the leg up and down, up, down. Reach those toes up to the sky. Hang in there. Check your neck and your shoulders. I think I overcounted. Let's do one more. Bring it all the way in. Awesome, awesome. All right, so I want you to drop your weights for a second. You can just have them on the carriage. And then take your hands to the side of your carriage. All right, so with my hands to the side of the carriage, my elbows are obviously bent, but now I'm pushing or hugging in on the carriage. So that should hopefully kind of open up the chest a little bit, but also maybe activate some muscles. So from here, bring your legs up into tabletop. Again, sink those ribs down. For some of you, it might feel like you're rounding a little bit. Totally normal. All right, straighten the legs up. Think big toe, inner ankle bone, inside of the knee connection here. So even if your ankles and toes aren't touching, just think of them coming together. All right, legs go over to the right. Hold here. Get your left rib cage down into the mat, y'all. Get it down and then come back to center. Legs go over to the left, right rib cage, right shoulder blade. Get it down and then back to center. We're going to add on. Legs go over to the right. Turn your head to the left. Sink that whole left upper back into the mat. And then turn your head back to center as legs come back to center. Razor straight legs, y'all. Legs over to the left. Turn your head to the right. It's your tick-tock from mat. And then back to center. I think it feels lovely. Over to the right. Turn your head to the left. Hug in on that carriage, y'all. Back to center. Last one. Over to the left. And back to center. Lower those legs down. Anybody starting to feel a little bit of thighs, a little bit of something, I hope? I know my heart rate's up. All righty, so back to jumping. Let's do it. So I'm going to go wide now, a little bit of a turnout here. And I'm going to go back to those hug arms. If you're at home and you're thinking, I don't want to do hug, if you've got another arm motion that you want to do it. Do it, all right? So arms are starting close. I'm going to go ahead and press out, find that toe ball heel. As I go out, my arms are going to go wide. Switching it up here in 3, 2, 1. Let's do what I like to call hopscotch. So I'm going to land narrow, land wide, land with one foot in the center, land with the other foot in the center, land wide, land narrow, land one foot, land the other foot. And here's where my arms just go crazy. Hopscotch. Make these jumps really big, y'all. After this, we're going to move on. Maybe a little bicep curl action here. Landing wide, landing narrow, land one foot, land the other foot. One more set here. Land wide, land narrow, land one foot, land the other foot, and bring it all the way home. Nice work. All right, so drop your headrest all the way down if it's up. And now take your feet into the short loops. Feet into the short loops. Make sure the straps are a little bit lower on your arches, so closer to the heels rather than your toes. I'm going to keep my arms down so you can drop the weights here. I'm going to start with my knees in towards my shoulders. My tailbone is heavy. My ribs are down. Take a moment. Maybe catch your breath. Maybe let the tension go from your head, neck, and shoulders. From here, pin your heels together and then send the legs out and away from you, and then bend the knees back in. Inhale takes you out. Exhale pulls you home. Inhale out. Exhale pulls you home. So here's your time again to kind of catch your breath, recenter things. Now send the legs out. Your legs are going to stay straight. Legs come up, up, and over. All right, for short spine. So can you close the carriage? Make sure the weight is into your shoulders and not your neck. Arms are pressing down. Knees bend in towards the shoulder blocks. And now pull your heels to your seat and roll down like a little ball. Roll down, roll down, roll down. All right, once your tailbone is heavy, send the legs back out. Legs come up and over. Keep pushing up into the straps, up into the straps. Try to create some space between chin and chest. And now bend your knees into the blocks as your hips get higher. Push into the arms like crazy. Pull your heels to your bottom and then roll down like a little ball, little ball. Last one here, we're going to switch it up. Legs are going to come up and over. Keep reaching up into the straps. As your knees bend, again, think hips higher. And now keep your feet over your face as you roll your bottom away from your feet. Roll down, roll down, roll down till you can't go any further, and just take a moment here and just exhale, relax. And then press your heels together, reactivate some legs, pull your heels to your bottom, tailbone comes heavy. Awesome. Okay, let's go ahead and take the straps off. Okay, and then let's go ahead now and roll you up. Whoop. And I'm going to come to one medium spring. So I'm going to pop my light spring or my blue off, and I'm going to come to one medium, which is my red spring. All right, so here I want you to pick up your heavier of your two sets, or if you just have your one set, right, grab it. You only need one dumbbell. All right, so I'm standing to the right of my carriage. It's my left foot that's going to come up here onto my shoulder block. Okay, so do what you got to do, you know, with reformers being super low, super high. So I'm holding the weight into my right hand. My left hand is on the jump board, okay? All I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna press the carriage out, go for a lunge. And what I'm really looking for right now is a stretch in the front of that left hip. That's all I'm doing right now. And then just bring the carriage in. Again, press it out. I'm bending into that front knee. So it's your Eve's lunge. And then bring the carriage right back in. Again, press it out. Think of that left hip trying to lift up to the ribs and then bring it back in. All right, now we're gonna add on. All right, so as I press out, I'm gonna reach my right arm forward. So I'm a little bit more into the front of my shoulder, And then as I come back in, I'm gonna row the elbow narrow. Reach out, I'm gonna hinge forward with a nice flat back, and then row it in, okay? Reach forward, and then row it in, find those upper back muscles. Again, reach forward, and pull it back in. The whole time, I want you to think of that right hip spiraling back, left hip spiraling forward. Strong grip around that dumbbell. Let's do 5. You got this. And 4. And 3. Check your form. Check things, y'all. 2. Last one. Hold it out here, y'all. Hold it out here. Shake out some tension. Row the elbow in. Punch out. Row it in. Punch out. That right knee should be right over the center of your foot. Work that reach out for 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bring it all the way in. All right. I'm now going to pivot facing my reformer. So now my heel is kind of hanging off and I've got, my foot kind of wedged into that crease. All right. Do what you got to do depending on carriages. Okay. So I'm in a turnout here. So let's just go ahead and straighten that left leg. I'm going to find a little bend to my right knee. Okay. I'm going to hinge forward a little bit. I'm not going to stick my booty out. In fact, I'm going to think of almost tucking it or elongating my tailbone a little bit. All right. And then just bend the knee, bring the carriage home. So you're going to keep this tiny hinge forward. And you're going to try to keep that left heel lifted. Your right knee is bent. All right. Let's add the arms. Elbows are bent, tucked into my sides. I'm going to open the arms out to the side as I straighten the leg and then bend everything back in. Right leg stays stable, y'all. Think of the front of your ribs pulling into your back. Gaze is slightly up and forward. I know it's tempting to look down. Anybody feeling that right hip? You've got 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Now hold it out there. My arms are lifted. I'm going to do little lifts, little lowers, little lifts, little lowers. Think of creating space in that upper back. Woo! Stuffing things, y'all. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it all the way in. All right, let's do the other side. Fun, fun, fun. Okay, weight goes into your left hand now. Right foot onto the shoulder block. Let's just do a couple stretches here. And bring it in. Drive back through the entire foot. So that heel is trying to connect to the shoulder block. So if you've got really long feet, it might not happen, but that's what you're thinking about. And then back in. One more time. All right, now we add on. So as I press out, that left arm is going to reach forward and then row it back in. So couple options here, or maybe just another option, is when you come up, you can come all the way up to standing, or you can kind of stay in this forward lean. My carriage is crazy high, so I have to kind of rise up to give my legs some space. But it's up to you. Neither are wrong. But for everybody, I want you to think right hip going forward, left hip going back, tripod connection through both feet. Ooh, this left shoulder is a little bit weaker. If it starts to bother your neck, you just aim lower. Ooh, and that left hip is starting to talk to me. We've got 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. And last one, hold it out there. Hold it out there. Left knee over the center of your foot. Row the elbow in and punch out. When you go for that row, I want you to think of it almost spiraling in towards your center line. Just gonna squeeze those armpit muscles. Oh, my left hip is talking to me. We have 5. You got it. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Bring it all the way in. Oh, that left hip. It needs that though. All right, we're gonna pivot. Right foot on. I've got a turn out here. My left heel, try to keep it lifted. Little extra challenge here. Press the carriage out. So we straighten that right leg. I'm gonna bend into my left knee. So I like to come here first, so that way I can kind of situate myself into the right position, and then I bend the knee back in. So remember, the whole time, this left leg, left hip, stays stable. My tailbone is long, so I'm not sticking my booty out. And then when you're ready, we can add in those kind of shoulder flies. Just be mindful of that jump board. And the cue of creating space in your back and then thinking of the elbows going wide across the room, that's to help prevent you going into your neck. Remember, you don't have to go up crazy high. Try to go fully straight with that right leg out. For 3 and 2 and 1. Hold it out there. Hold it out. Check your ribs, check your neck. And now little pulses. Little pulses, think of leading with the elbows, not the hands. Woo. Stuffing things, stuffing things. We have 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Awesome. Lower down. Oh, you know, when you kind of get to a point and you're like, okay, I'm past like the burning point, but then you got to come out of it. And that's when the muscle doesn't want to cooperate. All right, you can go ahead and set your weight down. If you have wrist weights, again, just leave them on. I took off my medium spring. I'm now on a light spring. So for me, it's my blue. It's not my lightest spring, but it is a light spring. All right, so again, adjust accordingly. You can do this next series all the way lying down. You can, but I'm going to try to do this because I said it was kind of advanced. I'm going to try to do it up on my elbows. And then what I like to do for support is I like to take my fingers and kind of wedge them underneath my cheeks. I just think it feels nicer. It holds my upper body in place a little bit better. But again, you do you, right? So I'm going to take all 10 toes on, heels together, toes apart up here. So before I even get to moving, I'm going to think of my chest lifting up, but my ribs pulling in and down. So here there is a little tuck to the pelvis, okay? Right? It's kind of simulating a little bit of a teaser here. So I'm going to keep that shape of my spine. I'm going to keep that belly pulling down into my low back. And then from here, I'm going to press the carriage out. Woo, that's a light spring. So some days, right, these knees stay bent. Some days they go straight. You do you. We're moving fast here. Please don't. Oh, he looked like he was going to jump on over here. But what I want you to really focus on wherever the legs are going is pulling that belly down. And if you're lying on your back, you can always add an ab curl here. Maybe place the hands behind the head. All right, now we're going to add on. As you press out, we're going to open the legs wide and bring them back together. Open the legs wide. Woo, bring them back together. Wide, back together. Wide, back together. Let's go fast. Out, in. Out, in. Woo, hello, stomach. Out, in. Pull those ribs back, y'all. Out, in. Woo. Again, out, in. Got a little excited. Last one. Out, in. All right, find parallel. Parallel now. Squeeze those inner thighs together. Now bring your left leg up into tabletop. Here's your chance to maybe reset, push into the forearms and the elbows. Now, we're going to keep the left leg still. As you press out, that right leg is going to lift up and down. Lift up and down. Lift up and down. 3 more. Up and down. Use that exhale. Exhale, lift and down. 1 more. Exhale, lift and down. Switch legs. Woo. Lift that leg up and down when you're ready. It's a quick one. Up and down. Pull those ribs back. Ooh, there's so many things happening right now. Come on, y'all. 3, kick it up. And 2, open up that chest. Last one, go back to both legs zipped up. Both legs zipped up, you got it. When you go out, can you draw a circle? Whoa, draw a circle. I don't care what direction. Draw a circle, land back together. Circle, back together. Control things. One more. Now reverse your circles. You got it. Point out through those toes. 3. Yes, you do. Sink that belly. Last one. Bring it in. And then just take a moment. All right, so I want you to grab your light weights. Light weights. And when I say light, I'm talking like 1 or 2 pounds. Maybe a can of soup. All right, so I'm gonna put my headrest down because I like to grab on back here. Come lying on your side. I'm gonna do my right side. If you need a pad for your hip, go ahead and grab it. So I'm gonna stay on this light spring. And I would love it if your hips could be stacked and your shoulder was underneath that right elbow, right? So we're not like super scrunched in, if you can. All right, so my right knee stays tucked in. My left foot goes up onto the jump board. Just press it out and hold here. Find your stacked hips. Find where you need to be. So I'm pressing down through my forearm as much as I can here. And now I'm gonna take my left arm up to the ceiling. I like to make a fist. I just find that it gives me a little bit more power. I feel my muscles a little bit more. And then I'm gonna bend the knee, bring the carriage home, and then press out for my first jump. All right, so I'm just gonna keep my left arm reaching up to the sky. And I'm thinking of opposition through my bottom elbow and my top arm. There's your pull straps too, y'all. All right. Keep thinking of those bottom ribs lifting up. Now we're gonna add on. So as I press out, that leg is gonna lift. I'm gonna think of kind of tapping my fist to my ankle. Now, obviously, when you do this, the hips will roll back a little bit. That's fine, right? It's like a little teaser from the side. Exhale, lift. Exhale, little stretch. You can always do this lying on your side. Hang in there with me, y'all. Let's do 3. And 2. And 1. Now we're gonna bend the knee to the bent elbow. So pull it in and out. So I'm just reaching that top arm kind of to the end of the reformer. Woo, how's that bottom shoulder? I am feeling that. For 4. And 3. Buddha's a little upset because he can't get up here. 2. Woo! Last one. Awesome. Bring it all the way in. Okay, other side. Let me just say, I am so happy I decided to do this today. It is the day after Thanksgiving for me, and I really was not feeling this morning, but I'm just glad. I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad you're here. All right, so elbow underneath your shoulder, top foot on the foot bar, or whatever. Press it out. Find your head to tail length. Find your opposition. Right arm punches up. Lift up through the bottom ribs. Bend the knee, and then press it out. And with the jump, right? You make it as big as you want. You can make these small. Gaze stays forward if you can. As I say that, I look down. And for me on this side, I have to think of that top hip rolling forward just a little bit. Chest is nice and open. When you're ready, we add that little crunch. Straight arm, straight leg, lift up. Still pushing down strong through that bottom elbow. You got it. Just be thankful we don't have 4 sides, right? Lift that leg up a little bit higher. Woo, a little bit higher. You got it. Let's do 5 and 4 and 3. Get a little bit longer, y'all. 2. Last one. Now we go for that elbow to knee. Elbow to knee. Make it energetic, y'all. Oh, my left hip, that left leg, or right leg, sorry. What side am I on? Make your jumps as big as you want. Hang in there, y'all. Keep lifting up through those bottom ribs. Ooh, I feel like that leg's about to fall off. Let's do 5 and 4 and 3 and 2. Last one. Awesome. Bring it all the way in. Okay. Oh, well, that was fun. All right. We're now going to switch it. Actually, we're not going to switch it. We're just going to add a medium spring. So right now I have a red and a blue spring on for my balanced body people. That is just a light and a medium spring. Okay. Grab your knee pad if you need. We're going to come kneeling on your carriage. All right. So kneeling, hooking your feet around the edge of your carriage here. I'm going to reach down for my long straps, right? You don't need any weights for this because obviously we're holding the straps here. So I'm going to come up into this active kneeling position. I'm going to think of that tailbone lengthening, my pubic bone coming forward, but also kind of lifting up. All right, I'm going to find that long line out through the crown of the head with straight arms, pull them down and back and pause here. All right, hug the arms into your center line. Get the arms a little bit straighter and then slowly release. Lower half is locked in place. Arms pulled down and back. Hold, 2, 3, and then slowly release. One more time like that. Arms pulled down and back. Hold. Can you stretch the arms down a little bit more? And then slowly release. Boy, oh boy, that fires things up. Again, arms pulled down and back. Hold here. Keeping everything else stable, turn your head to the right. Turn your head to the left. Turn your head to center and then slowly release. Last one here, arms pulled down and back. Can you guys get the arms straighter and roll them into your body a little bit more? Turn side, center, and then slowly release. Reach back, put another medium spring on. So right now I have 2 mediums, 1 light, or 2 reds and 1 blue. Walk the knees forward, up against the shoulder blocks, but still in hip socket distance apart. I want you to push down through your shins and the tops of your feet. Choke up onto the straps here. All right, I'm going to kind of drive my pelvis forward a little bit and then take my gaze down to my stomach, okay? So I'm in this kind of upper ab curl. Arms are going to stay straight. You're going to hinge back to your point of control. Keep lengthening the tailbone and then push down through your shins to lift yourself up. So that same like long tailbone, pubic bone forward and up still applies here. So hinge back, and then lift yourself right back up. All right, now we add on. Hinge back. Think of those thighs hugging together even though they're apart. Go back to your challenge point and hold here. Keep your pelvis and your hips still. And now take your gaze up the wall in front of you. Maybe up to the ceiling. Maybe roll the chest open. Find a baby back bend, maybe a big back bend. Look back, reach back, and then nod your chin, soften the ribs, and lift yourself up and out of it. So try to get the extension only in your upper back. All right, let's do that again. Look down, pelvis forward, find your inner thighs, hinge back to that challenge point, and then chest lifts, gaze lifts, up and over that imaginary beach ball behind you. Maybe you can look back and find your jump board, maybe not. Nod the chin, soften the ribs, and come all the way out of it. Oh my goodness, that is intense on the thighs. Let's do it one more time. Let's do it. Thighs on fire. All right, whew. Look down, pelvis forward, hinge back. Keep those legs locked in place. Puff up that chest. Roll the shoulders open. Look back, stretch back, go back. Nod your chin. Come all the way out of it. Man, oh man, that is tough. All right, straps hung up. We're gonna spin around now. I'm gonna come down to a light spring, the lightest spring I have. So for me, balanced body, that is a yellow spring. All right, so I want you to grab your light dumbbell and I want you to place it just like either on the carriage or like in between your knees so it's not rolling all over the place. It's just close by. I want you to wedge those feet up against the shoulder blocks as best you can. Okay, so I don't want pointed toes. I want hard flex of the feet. I'm gonna sit my hips back to where I have like this little hover here. You can always do this seated if this doesn't agree with you, okay? So I'm gonna feel that lift up through the ribs and take my heels and my hands onto the corners of the foot bar or the jump board, sorry. All right, I'm gonna hold this shape of my spine and I'm just gonna press the carriage out and then land. So the first few here is just you getting a feel for this spring, this position. Just letting your body know, hey, need you to come to the party and stabilize. If the low back starts to bob you here at all, just find a little rounded shape, just a little baby round. Let's do 3 and 2. Last one. Now we're going to add some arm circles. So as you press out, circle the arms around, land back on the top. Press it out, circle the arms around. You go as big as you want with these circles. Strong arms. Find your upper back muscles. Press it out, circle. You're swimming in the ocean right now. Push those arms through the water. 3. Hang in there. Legs at the party. 2. You got this. Last one. All right, we reverse it. Only for 5. You got this. And 4. Sides of the neck long, y'all. Checking with things. 3. Heels pushing back. 2. Woo. Last one. Awesome. Bring it all the way in. All right, so I want you to take that light weight. Okay, I'm just going to simulate because I have my wrist bands on. My left hand is going to come more on top of the jump board, center-ish, right around there. Feel free to readjust. I'm still at this little hover. My right arm is just hanging down in front of me, holding a weight, okay? I want you to press the carriage out or go for a little jump and then land. So we're just jumping with that left arm right now. Hips are still at that hover, if you can. Okay, now let's add on. So when you press out, open that right arm out to the side and then bring it back in. It's a one-arm back fly. Out to the side and back in. So there's a soft bend to that right elbow. Find your inner thighs, heels pushing back. Lift up through the ribs just like you're doing a plank. Ooh, things on fire. We have 2. Last one. Now we're going to add a twist to this. So as I press out, I'm going to lift my hips, reach back, look back. Drive the hips forward, reach back. Squeeze my booty at the top. Try to land as softly as you can. I know it can be a lot on the wrist. Let's do 4. And 3. And 2. Last one. Awesome. Bring it all the way in. All right, other side. So switch weights. Weights now in your left hand. Right hand on top of the jump board. Left arm just hanging down in front of you. Again, booty sitting back. Ribs are lifted. Go for these first few press outs here. And I didn't mention it on the other side, but I don't care if your right elbow is bending narrow or more out to the side. Maybe you alternate. Maybe you find halfway, kind of in between. I would think more narrow is going to hit the tricep, the back of the arm a little bit more. Either way, you're working shoulders. You're working all kinds of things. All right, so let's add on to that arm lift out to the side, that kind of back fly. And for whatever reason, this side just feels like I've got 2 left arms and like no coordination. Woo, goodness gracious. Check your neck, y'all.
Think of really like big open wingspan on that left side. For 3 and 2. And the last one, now we add that reach and twist. So hips drive forward, arm reaches back. Squeeze your seat at the top. Right, so there's your thigh stretch. There's your chest expansion we just did. So find that connection with your lower half. Look back at that hand if you can. Oh, I think this feels so good. For 4, the twist, I mean. 3. You got it. And 2. And the last one. Awesome. Bring it all the way in. All right. All right, so now we are going to place 2 medium springs on. For me, that is 2 red springs. And we're going to take all the other lights off. Just 2 mediums or 2 red springs. You will need your light weights for this last round. You can always ditch them. Remember that. You can always ditch them. My headrest is going to come back up. And we're in the final stretch, y'all. So let's do this. All right, so make sure that you are centered. We're going to find a turnout with your toes kind of at the corners of your jump board here, okay? So I'm just going to start with my arms down by my side because I want to get a feel for this spring. So again, sink the back, sink the ribs. And then when you're ready, go ahead and press the carriage out. Go for that first jump here. Point out through the toes, little toe ball heel. All right, let's get into the arms. I want you to hover the arms a little bit up off the mat. Turn your palms facing in towards one another, right? You're holding the weights or you're not. I'm going to make fists with my hands. All right, and now as the carriage comes in, I'm going to bend the elbows and then straighten the arms. I straighten my legs. So it's like a little bicep curl and a tricep press in one. Elbows are hovering. This is your time to really like drive things home. It's the last push here. Keep with the arms if you like. And now we're going to alternate between landing wide and narrow. Land wide, narrow, wide, narrow. So we're going from a turnout to parallel. Squeeze those inner thighs together as the legs come together. You got it. Sink those ribs down for 3, 2. Last one. Bring the legs together. Stay jumping here. I'm going to reach my arms up to the sky. So we're jumping in a very close parallel right now. Inner ankle bones hugging together. Maybe add a little chest press here if you'd like. Big jumps, y'all. Big jumps. There's those thighs. All right. Last little bit here in 3, 2, 1. Left leg and tabletop. Jumping on that right leg only. Want to add some skull crushers to this? Go for it. Your time to kind of improvise and play with the arms. You got it. Let's burn out that right leg. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Switch legs. You got it. Maybe switch up the arms. I'm going to go back to a hug. Make sure you're rolling through that foot. Last push. Ooh, I know I keep saying that, but it helps me just keep pushing. 5, you got it. 4, hang in there. 3, 2, 1. Bring it all the way in. And then just do little slow press outs. And just start to let things relax a little bit. You can do away with the weights if you have them. All right, go ahead and bring the carriage in. We're going to stay on these same springs. Take your feet into the long loops. Feet into the long loops. Make sure the straps are closer to your heels than your arches.
just bring your knees into your chest here, arms hang down by your side, and just let yourself like relax. We're not lying with intention. We're not pushing into the straps. We're letting the straps kind of pull our feet closer in, letting the knees just fall open. Take another big breath in here. Big breath out. Another big breath in. On your exhale, I want you to press your heels together and like roll your tailbone down and into the mat. It might be like a 2-inch move. All right, so feel the ribs sink heavy. Now we're in more like an active frog position. And now press the legs out to that working angle and then bend the knees back in. Send the legs out on an inhale. Exhale, bend the knees back in. Inhale out. Exhale, pull it in. It's the time to, again, check the neck, check the shoulders. Now send the legs out. Find parallel. All right. Find your butt crease muscles as you lift the legs up and then lower the legs down. So try to stay connected to your seat or your hips as we lower and lift the legs. And I know some teachers will cue this kind of like pointing and flexing of the feet like a paintbrush. If you'd like to do that, go for it. Some days I do, some days I don't. One more here. And as you lower the legs down, I want you to open the legs out wide. Circle them around, meet back up at the top. Find your seat again, lower the legs down through center. As your legs go wide, flex your feet. And then just let them naturally point as you bring the legs together again, lower the legs down. I find that flex of the feet on the wide position, it just deepens the stretch in different places for me. Take it or leave it. Last one here. Once your legs are back up at 90, we reverse. We go out. Think of reaching into the straps. Exaggerate these circles. I'd say we worked hard for it. I really appreciate all of you being here, and I appreciate all of you being patient with me while I figure out all my camera stuff. So if you're coming on for the first time and you're seeing this video, my quality is a little bit different. Typically, I usually have a nice big fancy camera, but right now I'm on a phone with a different microphone, so I've had to improvise here lately. So if you made it to the end with me, I really appreciate you being here. All right, so bring the legs up to your 90. And now I want you to keep your right leg straight. You're gonna bend your left knee and then take your foot down to the floor. Now, if you have one of those really low reformers, just think of bringing the foot like back towards your booty, your left butt cheek, to get a thigh stretch on that left thigh. Now we have a couple options here with the right leg. I know I said straight, but some days I like to bend it and kind of pull it in. Some days I like to keep it straight. Maybe we do both. As long as you're getting some type of release, some type of hip opening here, that works. Find that right leg kind of back up to that start position. Push into that foot to bring the left foot up. And now your right foot comes down to the side. The further back you allow that strap to pull the foot, the deeper that stretch on the top on that right thigh should be. And just send your breath to those tight places. I needed this. I did. This was a good idea. I wasn't for it in the beginning, but I'm for it now. All right, find that leg back to the start position. Push into the left foot. Bring your right leg up. Go and bend the knees in. Let's take the straps off. Like I said, I really appreciate you being here today. Let me know what you thought in the comments. That was awesome, y'all. Nice work.